and today I'm going to talk about 3 ways of growing spiritually. So, for those who don't know me, I'm Tahira Khan, author of the book Through the Golden Door, which is about a transformation spiritual journey. Okay? And I want to talk about this topic today because it's something which I'm endeavoring myself. I'm constantly thinking about it. Am I moving forward or am I moving backwards? That's the important thing. And I highlighted these 3 points as important things that we need to look at. It doesn't matter whether you are deeply spiritual or not, but it's something we all have to explore in our lives. So what I want to share is that as we go through our day-to-day lives, we need to explore these 3 areas so that we can move forward constantly and not take for granted of the distractions in this world. Myself as a businesswoman, as an author, as a technocrat for many, many years. For those who don't know me, I have been in technology, running a tech company for, well, close to 20 years. I've been doing that, dealing with governments, traveling to over 35 countries around the world. Hi Adele, hi Eric, thanks for coming online. So traveling to 35 over countries around the world, being so deep in this business. And then here I am talking about spiritual matters. Why? Because we're not supposed to separate them. We're supposed to be, it has to be congruent and unified as part of us. Okay? So don't ever look at it as something which is something you do when you are free as your pastime. Put it as part of your life, day to day, as you live it, every moment. Okay? So the thing is, I may be talking about these things, but it does not mean that I'm not in this world, engaging in business, engaging in innovations. I have been doing that. I have filed patents as a technology person, but I realized over the time that I had to be this one spiritual being who was acting and performing in this world, and I had to keep growing spiritually. Okay, so what are the 3 ways of growing spiritually? What do you think they are? Please write in the comments. Hi Ravi, hi Dr. Sudhir, hi Beyonce for coming online, hi. So what do you think are the 3 ways of growing spiritually? What do you feel they are? I mean, it's not rocket science, but it's something you should be aware of all the time, okay? So before I start, I want you to brainstorm a little bit. Give me your thoughts. And are you practicing it daily? When you wake up in the morning, when you start work, when you're working out a contract, when you are negotiating with someone, when you are hiring a personnel, when you're speaking on stage, you have that in mind, that whether you are growing spiritually or whether you feel that you've arrived. Well, I'm sure all of you who are watching right now know that you've not arrived. It's a continuous process. And are you aware of what they are so that you can methodically practice it? Okay, let me start. Hi Marianne. So let me start. So the first thing is, very simply, first thing is faith. But it's what about faith? We all know, yes, have faith. But what about faith? The initial faith, when you have reached that awakening, some of us have attained an awakening, okay? So we find that we achieve that excitement, that passion, when we find that, when we reach at that stage of awakening, and we have that initial faith. And that moment, we would normally remember it in our lives as a very passionate moment. Time when we really are all out to seek God. I'm sure you remember those moments. Okay? But is that enough? It's not enough. Because it can die out. Initial faith is fine. It's there. But then it goes on to the next stage. As part of the first point, is continuous faith. Continuous faith as we go through the journey. And as we move upwards, hopefully, or as we embark on a new journey, as a person who's awakened, we will be tested more and more, and we will be tested based on our continuous faith, despite the hurdles and difficulties and challenges that come our way, despite the naysayers who is going to stop us and tell us to move back, despite the work that comes in front of us, taking away our time, and also despite the distractions that take away, or disappointments that take away that initial excitement. So continuous faith to stay in that mode, okay, to stay in that mode and being mindful of that. Another part of faith, okay, is the test of faith, which is what I just mentioned just now. Your faith will be constantly tested, and moving forward positively each time you are tested, and not holding on to that thought that, why is my life more difficult now? Okay? So initial faith, continuous faith, and the test of faith. Now, myself, as a person who has been attempting to grow spiritually for the past at least a decade, okay, I found numerous tests. Do not ever think that my life has been smooth. It has not. Okay? I have experienced everything from poverty to near homelessness, to sickness of myself and my family, through loss of people I really loved, through betrayal, and more. Okay, I've gone through all of it. And life being a journey, that ship that's going through those turbulent waters, it's about getting past those waters so that you become so strong that even the toughest waters, the most turbulent, cannot sink you. Okay? Cannot sink you. Nothing can break and push you down. So that's a challenge. Right? So this is, faith is one thing. And taking those aspects, those three aspects of faith in our lives. And that itself is not easy. So the second point of growing spiritually, what is it? Very simply, thankfulness, but more than that, abounding in thankfulness. Abounding in thankfulness means to be overflowing in thankfulness. Okay? I'll explain why. When you're overflowing in thankfulness, your thankfulness is not just enough for yourself, that you feel uplifted, that you feel that you have given thanks to God and you feel uplifted. But when you're overflowing in thankfulness, you've gone past that requirement to a point that others can feel it, and it pours out to them. It's overflowing. It passes on. So that they too start getting ignited with that feeling of thankfulness. You become like, you create a contagion of gratitude and thankfulness. So to be overflowing, not just flowing, but abounding in it. And scientifically, in a way, you can call it quantum entanglement. As one particle impacts another particle, myself, for example, being, an assembly of particles, a being, a spiritual being, energy being, consciousness, my overflowingness, my overflowing, as I expand and I show my gratitude, others through quantum entanglement are impacted. Quantum entanglement, it defies space and time. So someone who may not be connected to you, who is another part of the world, who's may not know you, can be so impacted by what you have to share on your gratitude. So showing gratitude multiple times a day in everything we do. And sometimes I try to remind myself, almost at least 7-8 times a day, thanking God for the blessings in my life. And when I do that more, and it uplifts me, and it makes me realize that I forget the negative things that are happening on this day, on the day before. So that focus, the constant focus of gratitude, makes me forget, like an amnesia, like you're floating in this cloud, like you're unaffected by the challenges of the day. Challenges no longer affect you. It just becomes an irritating bug, because you're so much floating and living in that thankfulness. Okay? So to live and float in that thankfulness, like a sea of thankfulness overflowing, so it passes on to others. Imagine yourself doing that daily. To wake up in the morning reciting words of thanks. When you're about to eat your food, reciting thanks. When you're about to start a project, reciting thanks that you have this project. When something good happens on that day, stop and do a short prayer, thanking God. Thank God, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for this blessing. We don't necessarily need to post on Facebook that I'm blessed. We don't need to go into that, that kind of approach. It can be just silently, privately to ourselves. That's what's more important. It's not some kind of show, I found that many people go into that show, I'm blessed, it's good, but let's not overdo that. Keep this even private to yourself. You don't need to tell others, but you can be so thankful in your heart, overflowing in your heart in thankfulness, that when people look at you without saying anything, they can see your blissfulness and thankfulness. Okay? So, yes, use your words and use your prayer to express the thanks. Use your positive thoughts to express the thanks. Now the third thing in growing spiritually is to grow in love. To grow in love. Because you must remember one thing, that we were created in love. You came into this world in love. You were born of love. Your Creator is love. So when you come into this world created by love, you are indebted to love. Love is a debt. In scriptures, it's Romans 13:8. You can refer to that. Love is a debt. So when love is a debt, if you think about it that way, you need to pay it out all the time. You don't just pay it out once in a while. You pay it out continuously, not forgetting the installments of love. Not just to others, but to yourself also. And when you can pay more, there's so much more that you will multiply, that multiplier effect. So knowing that love is a debt will give you better understanding that you are actually growing spiritually, and not just by sitting and meditating, okay, or praying. Though prayer and meditation is crucial, it's important. But to leave out the acting in love is even more. So there are many people who call themselves spiritual, but you don't see love in them. They don't speak of love. And I hope that there are very few of them. I'm sure there are very few. And I know there are more and more who realize that love is crucial as part of our spiritual growth. And even in business, when we are at the office, when you're taking care of a colleague or discussing some terms with a business partner, to factor in love as part of it, though we don't think about it firsthand. We're always thinking first about protecting ourselves, about the trust factor, about, am I going to be cheated by this person? Love is a debt, even with strangers. Are you willing to give love through your words, through your actions, to a complete stranger on the street? Sometimes we forget that. So, love is a debt. Give it continuously. Give it with a reminder that it's an important part of our spiritual growth. Love is a royal law. Another aspect of love. Why a royal law? Okay. It is a royal law because it is something which raises us up in terms of integrity. It raises us up. It crowns us. It crowns a relationship. It elevates. When I mean by crowning, it elevates a relationship. It is a noble act. And it's something that you cannot do without. It is a royal law. It's something which it's not less important. It's something you have to do. It's something that is part of you. It's something that it is part of every sentence that you speak, every action that you take. It is overriding. It's an overriding emotion and state. Love is a royal law. So even if you are coming back from work, a hard day at work. You remember, am I growing spiritually? Love is a debt, love is a royal law. When I come back home and I greet my family, do I greet them with love or do I greet them with a tantrum? Love is a debt, love is a royal law. Have I called my mom today? Have I remembered my father? Have I hugged my child today? Have I fed my animals? Have I fed my pets? Have I seen somebody is injured? Did I go over to help that person? If someone was rude to me when I came back from the office home, did I decide to shout at that person because he was rude? But did I decide to respond in peace instead, and not to follow the same act? Love is a royal law. It's overwhelming, and it is the overaching principle. So I may have talked about the 3 points, but I'll tell you what, there's actually more than 3 points. If you can cover these 3 areas, you are definitely growing spiritually. Even if you're reading the Word, and even if you are praying regularly and meditating regularly, all this combined will help you grow in holiness. Okay? And also, the 5th point is to grow in encouraging others. How often do you encourage people on a daily basis? Or do you feel that you need to be encouraged? Because you're down in the dumps, because you feel that you are lacking. How can you be encouraging others? You need as much encouragement. No. Encourage others despite everything. Encourage others because you are actually in oversupply of love and encouragement. As sparks of God, we are an oversupply. We don't realize that. Even if we do feel that we are down in the dumps, we are in oversupply. So we always have more to give than to take, every one of us. Whether rich or poor, whether up or down. So we are in oversupply. So always grow in encouraging others. See how you can encourage others more. Whether your family, whether your colleagues, whether a stranger, whether someone you really love or someone you don't like very much. There's a 6th point also. Grow in generosity. Linked to growing in love, because growing in love may be a status and a feeling, but growing in generosity in some way is also a feeling, but it's also an act. So both are quite similar. And generosity is more related to, it's a step, in a way it overlaps with love, but generosity in a way is not just the act of giving, but giving your time, giving your listening ear. Do you, when you talk, do you monopolize a conversation? If you realize that you monopolize a conversation, learn to be a little bit more generous and tone that down a little bit so that you can be generous with others as they can share their own thoughts. In that way you grow spiritually. Simple acts, but we tend to forget. Alright? And the 7th, as I said, there are more than 3 points. The 7th way of growing spiritually is that factoring whatever you do in your daily life, it could be your passion, your job and making sure that it is overflowing with the work you have or the agreement you have for God. If your agreement with God as part of your purpose is, let's say, to encourage others, or let's say to inspire others, or to help others make money, okay, if you are a money expert. So to make sure as you start each day, that is my work abounding with the work for God? Is it aligned with that? If I am going to help people make money, does my work actually do that? Or am I forgetting that I'm making money for myself? Okay? So let's say, for example, a person who's a medical professional, doctor or healer, for that person, he or she to remember, is my work abounding in the work for God? That means I'm actually made an agreement that I'm healing others and not making them suffer. Because we tend to forget that if our business is doing well, medical profession is doing well, that we're really making money for ourselves and we're benefiting. And we forget the other part. We forget our agreement. That's crucial. So that's what it is. So I spoke about the areas of how you can grow in spirituality. Okay, so thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a good day ahead and a good week ahead. My website, tahiramirkhan.com, and my YouTube channel, Tahira Golden Door TV. All right, do subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday around 3 o'clock. I will make an announcement. Thank you for those who just joined me, and I will just launch this video and you can always watch it again. All right, bye.